For those of you who watch my channel quite a bit, you know that I absolutely love to off-road. It is one of my favorite things to do in GTA. I remember ever since I was super young, I would watch Jacksepticeye climb up Mount Chiliad, then throw a car off of it. I made a lot of Mount Chiliad challenges with my friends where I would throw vehicles off cliffs to see how many times they can survive before being blown up. And because of that, I've always had a huge interest in off-road vehicles and just messing around with off-roading in general. So in today's video, we are going to be breaking into some of my personal favorite off-roaders. And starting off, we have this, the Vapid Desert Raid. It is one of the weirdest looking off-roaders in the game. But don't let the looks fool you. This car is redonkulous. First of all, look at how much power this thing has. Basically in front of us is, I don't know, like a 70-degree cliff. Watch this thing. We are going to full power make our way up this hill, no problem whatsoever. This car is insane. Even this cliff area here, I mean, look at this. This is actually insane. Like, obviously we can't make it all the way up, but still, the fact that this car can climb so steep of a cliff is kind of dang crazy. Not only that, but it's also absolutely amazing at rallying capabilities. This vehicle's actually fairly fast, and as you'll notice, it has ridiculously good grip. So you can literally drift with this thing, you can roll around corners at 80, 90 miles an hour on dirt roads, have no troubles whatsoever, and absolutely steer like a beast. You can see me doing that right here. I mean, there's not a lot of vehicles I can name in GTA that are able to just drive like this. I mean, sure, it might flip occasionally, but at the end of the day, it's super fun, and that's why it's making it into the number 5 position. Next up, we arrive at a vehicle so large that you can't even see our previous vehicle, this being the Vapid Guardian. Now, the Guardian has a couple really cool things going for it. First of all, it is one of the only vehicles that you can own in your garage that people can stand on while you're driving. I know that sounds weird, but you can actually stand on the roof, you can stand on the bed of this vehicle while it's moving at full speed, and it will not ever knock the person off. It's actually insane because of that. But not only that, this vehicle is also a crazy good off-roader. It's based off of a Ford F650, and judging that they start off at the F150, which is already a pretty beefy truck, you can imagine that, yeah, this vehicle, it means serious business. It is able to conquer hills like crazy. And even though you would think that it doesn't actually have that much capability, this vehicle climbs up steep hills like no problem. I mean, it's actually just crazy how well this thing can go up hills. I would guess it's because it has insane levels of torque, but I mean, look at this. We're climbing up basically 70-degree, 80-degree cliffs here. And while we're not doing it very fast, we are still making our way up. I mean, look at that cliff. That is insane. So the Desert Raid is crazy, and this also is very, very impressive. And there's one last thing I should mention about the Guardian that makes it even more unique, and that is this. You see, normally, you would expect my vehicle to be completely drowned. I'm underwater, and I mean, how would it possibly be working? Well, look at this. We are still moving. Yeah, I'm still moving! And that is because of the fact that the Guardian only drowns if the smokestacks are underwater. Isn't that crazy? So you can literally drive this vehicle in the deepest of water, and it will never, ever drown. And it's such a unique feature about this truck that you really won't find in any other vehicles in the game. I mean, look at that. That's so cool. That is the major reason why this is on the list. I mean, there's literally no other vehicles apart from semi-trucks that can do that right there. And it just makes this so incredibly fun to mess around with. The Jeeping community are insane when it comes to off-roading. My parents themselves own a fully kitted out Jeep, and they go off-roading over in Utah, all over, which is absolutely insane, and I think it's super cool. So because of that, I have to throw a Jeep into today's list. And we have the Mesa, which is the beefiest and strongest of all the Jeeps. Now there's two different variants of the Mesa. We can see there is the hardtop, which, you know, is fully enclosed if you like that style. And then we have the non-hardtop, which doesn't have a roof at all. Personally, I think they both look great. I think I like the hardtop more, but on a nice sunny day like today, we're going to run our Mesa without the hardtop. Now, this isn't really insane at speed, nor is it insane at handling. But I will say, the Mesa is very, very good when it comes to just being an off-road brute. It's got super, super strong suspension, which means you can take this thing through an absolute beating, and it will still drive no problem whatsoever. I mean, you can see this right here. It's got really good ground clearance, which makes it very fun to mess around with. The only real problem with this Jeep is the same problem Jeeps have in real life. They like to flip. The difference is when you're off-roading in real life, you're not going 100,000 miles an hour down a hill, seeing how fast you can make it through a course. In real life, you're going very slow. So yeah, you definitely might flip here and there, and it's a little top-heavy. But for the most part, I mean, you can see, this thing has no trouble climbing up hills, mountains, anything that you will throw at it. And its suspension, as you're going to see here, chonk, no problem whatsoever. It's super sturdy, although we have managed to flip the vehicle. But I really, really like the Mesa. And the other great thing about the Mesa is it's very cheap. You can get your hands on it for free. You literally just call Merryweather support, and then you murder the drivers and put it in your garage. It's just that easy. So the Mesa, super, super fun. This next vehicle surprises even me that it's making the tier list, and that is the Maibatsu Monstrosity. You see, this is a vehicle that I never really thought anything crazy of when I heard it was coming into the game. But once I got my hands on it, and I especially tested it on my off-road course, this vehicle became insane. It is actually ridiculous how well it can just maneuver its way through the rocks. Because it's got a super, super small profile, it's actually surprisingly good at not flipping. And I mean, look at this thing. It's struggling, but it's making its way up those rocks right there. I can't name a lot of off-roaders that can do that. And look at this massive cliff right here. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I can't even see what we're climbing up, but we're still doing it. This car is just, it's ridiculous. The off-roading capabilities are way better than you would expect them to be. And it's also got really good suspension. And even though its ground clearance isn't great, because of the fact that it has a skid bar you can see on the bottom there, it actually has no problems whatsoever climbing. I mean, look at this mountain we just climbed up. We're probably 1,000 feet in elevation just like that. I mean, that's crazy. This thing is so fun to mess around with. And it also features Amani Tech upgrades. It features an HSW upgrade if you play on next generation console. This is by far the most diverse of all the off-roaders. Okay, I really thought I could flip that, but clearly, well, I guess I kind of stuck it. But yeah, this vehicle is insane. And it's also a really good rally car. You can see even going down this cliff at super, super high speed, it just doesn't want to flip. That's mainly because of the fact it's got a super low center of gravity. So the Monstrosity, it's actually an incredibly fun vehicle that I would suggest to pick up. And we arrive at this, the Sasquatch. Now this vehicle is actually ridiculous. The current Sasquatch I'm driving has a plow on the front, and it does ruin a lot of its off-roading capabilities, as it, you can see, eats into the ground clearance. However, you do not need to use a plow on this vehicle, and in fact, you can have all the ground clearance you want because of the fact you can just remove it. The reason I have the plow is because it's a lot more fun to not only A, smack pedestrians, but also smash vehicles off the road. But that doesn't take away at all from this vehicle's off-roading prowess. It is very good, because at the end of the day, it's a freaking monster truck. I mean, why wouldn't it be good? First of all, it's able to go through some of the deepest water in the game, which is obviously great. It means that you can basically do any water off-roading course and have no trouble whatsoever. It can also jump, which means if there's any big rocks you want to climb over, no problem, you got a jump ability. And it even has a turbo mode, which means that if there's any areas that you just don't have enough grip to climb up, well, no problem. This vehicle will make quick work of it. And the craziest part is that this vehicle is even fast, going 120 plus miles per hour. This is just checking all the boxes, and because of that, it's so fun. You can see even when you're going slow, all four wheels turn, giving you a much, much better turning radius. Overall, the Sasquatch is insane, and I would recommend for everybody to pick one of these vehicles up. I think we actually got our back wheel caught on that tree there, but yeah, it's so fun to mess around with this vehicle. The jump and everything around it is just, it's incredible. And again, there's one final thing that I personally really like about it. Crossing this gap for many years was one of my biggest challenges in GTA. If a vehicle could cross this gap in front of me, it was deemed the best off-roader. And, I mean, that gap right there is very easy to cross. However, this next one, well, that's a bit of a different story. you can see it's pretty freaking huge. So we're going to activate our speed boost, and here we go. Look at it! I mean, it made it no problem! There's not a lot of vehicles I can name in the game that are able to cross that gap that easily. In fact, there's no vehicles I can name apart from semi-trucks. But again, let's do it. Full speed ahead, activated, and okay, this time it's a little bit more sussler, but still, I mean, easy peasy. Thing's insane. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. This is my tier list of the best off-roaders in GTA. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.